to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. Today is What Would Lou Do? That's right. If you have heard, I have encouraging you, if you have a question that you'd like to ask, what would Lou do? Then please go to LuAnnNigara.com/WWLD. And you can submit your questions there and maybe I'll read yours on air. Before I get to today's question, I want to thank Kravit for sponsoring the show. Please keep in mind that you have to open up your trade account, but when you do, you get all the goodness that Kravit Inc. has to offer. And one thing is you can get 10% off any one purchase by using the code AWDB10 at checkout. This is for a purchase of any Kravit fabric, wallpaper, or trim. Okay? AWDB10. All right, today's question is from Jane, who I happen to have met recently. So I'm excited to read your question, Jane. It says, Hi, LuAnn. How would you handle a client who is refusing to pay a bill? I have tried the usual ways to collect what is owed to me, such as detailed itemized invoices of products purchased and hours spent working on the project. The unfortunate part of this is I fronted the cost of the accessories and hours, sourcing them, and they have been delivered to her home, and she is enjoying them in her home, which gives her all the power. I know, not a smart move on my part. She has been a good and paying client in the past. Even when I could see the project going south, I just didn't expect her to refuse to pay this bill. The amount owed is $1,800, so hiring an attorney doesn't seem very practical. Are there any other ways I can try to collect this amount? What would Lou do? All right, so here's the thing. Of everything that Jane has said to us here is the money line for me. Even when I could see the project going south, okay? That's the crux of it right there. Because the thing is, there is, especially when Jane gives us the information that this is a good and paying client. So we're going to eliminate all other stuff like not a good person, always does this, whatever all the negative stuff of those particular tiny slice of clients are. This is a good and paying client in the past. So the money line is even when I could see the project going south. So Jane, I want you to go back and think about what was happening when you felt like you noticed the project going south, because somewhere in there is the key to getting this resolved. Somewhere in there is where the client lost faith, lost respect, got mad, felt treated unfairly, whatever it is. But right in there, and because you noticed the project going south, it means this is good news, because this means that you will be able to take a few moments and probably within a few moments be able to pinpoint the exact thing that is preventing her in her mind from happily paying you. All right. So what I want you to do is sit and think about what is one thing at the time when you noticed the project going south that if you had done it then, the project wouldn't have continued to go south. So it might have been acknowledging a mistake on your part or any of your trades or vendors. It might have been exchanging something that was possibly every single thing was right about it, but she just didn't like it. And you thought, well, it's going to cost me too much to exchange it. She doesn't want to pay restocking, whatever it was. Maybe it could be just a personal interaction that there was just a moment where she felt offended, and maybe you just caught the little look in her eye of surprise or hurt, right? Because again, when I see the line, this is a good and paying client, then I'm looking for something rational to extent, right? Logical for sure, and something that this client is hanging her hat on, and you've missed it. And so go back, think about what it is. And then once you think about what it is, think about what you could have done differently in the moment to change the way the project went. And if you could still take that action now, I want you to think about taking it. And if it's too late to take that particular action now because of the time that's passed, what action can you take to rectify the situation for her? Because that's the key in getting her back on board with wanting this to complete amicably, right? We have to give her her due. We have to give her her apology. We have to give her her resolution. And my thing is this is one of those moments where it may cost you money to do it, but again, if it's a good and paying client, it's usually worth the investment to do that. So at this moment, once you've identified what it was that you believe was the turning point, what you could have done at the moment and what you should do now, then it's time for the phone call. And for me, this is a phone call because I want this person to hear my voice. I want this person to know that I've truly reviewed this. I truly am owning whatever the situation is, whether it's mistake or judgment call, whatever it is, but that I'm truly owning it and that I have a solution and I really want to execute the solution, whether it's a solution that's easy to execute, difficult, expensive or not, that I definitely want to execute the solution. All right. So buckle up, get ready for the hard conversation. You can do it, but call her up and say, hey, and especially, if you get the voicemail, I would leave a rather detailed message. So I would say, hey, I've been sending you invoices, and of course, I realize that you haven't paid them. And that got me to thinking, why would you not pay your invoice? You've always paid your invoices. We've always had a good relationship. And so I looked at it and I realized that it's quite possible that it goes back to this moment where I could have done XYZ, or where I hurt your feelings, or where I didn't hear a request from you, or where I didn't take your side and be your advocate with a trade, whatever it is, and say, and I'm really thinking about that and I regret it. And I'm sorry. And you didn't deserve that treatment. We've had a great relationship up until now. I want to repair this. I want us to be able to get by it and move forward. And to that end, here's what I'd love to do for you. I want to, boom, replace the wallpaper, boom, redo the sofa upholstery, boom, redo the lighting, whatever it is. And I want you to know that I'm doing this, from me to you. It's my responsibility to make this right. And I would love to hear from you. I hope that this will let you know that my number one goal is for us to be back on track and to be, that dynamic duo that we've been in the past. Please, I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks tons. Have a great day. Right? And then you'll work out later what the money is. See, I wouldn't mention collecting the money on this conversation. I would just own my mistake and provide my solution. And you notice in there, even from the beginning, I'm planting the seeds that we have had a good relationship. I got to thinking, why would a really good client like yours with the relationship we've had not pay her invoice, right? So you're constantly throughout the conversation reaffirming that you have a positive viewpoint of her, a positive viewpoint of your relationship, and you're planting that little seed like, remember us? Remember, we're good together. We've always had good projects together. You're just quietly reminding her of that, okay? So this conversation, I would say nothing about the balance due. If what I suggested that I needed to do to fix it would cost me money, you heard, I've said, I want to do this for you. This is the right thing to do. So you're not saying, I'm going to give you an invoice for it. When she calls, hopefully she will, and maybe if she's really stung, she might be a little leery of your solution. She might be thinking, okay, great, you're going to redo the wallpaper, but are you going to make me pay for the wallpaper or make me pay for the labor? So, and she might not say it blatantly like that, but she might say, well, I'm not understanding. So we're just going to pick a new wallpaper, and you spell it out and you say, yes, I know that you didn't like the paper. I really, at the time, as much as I loved it, if you loved it, say you loved it. Okay. If you did love it, say you love it, because you're the expert, and objectively, if it's good, it's good. So we don't push it down her throat, but we just let her know I'm still the leader of this team here, and I'm still the arbiter of style and taste. Okay. But you would say, I realized at that moment that you really didn't love the wallpaper, even though I did. And so the thing is, no, there's no invoice going to be attached to this. I want to select a new one. I'm going to pay for the new paper. I'm going to pay for the labor. This is important to me, especially because you've been my client before. I would do this for a brand new client, but I particularly want to do it for you, a loyal repeat client. Okay. And then to say, when we're done everything, of course, I will ask you to pay the invoice for all of the accessories that you've got in your home. But I want to show you first that I want to do the right thing by you. Okay. And then you say, okay. And when she says, okay, that's your okay. So, alrighty, I don't know what the situation is here. I'm making up a scenario, but I think you get the gist of it. It really comes down to, it sounds like there was a moment that your client was dissatisfied and possibly felt unheard. And all you have to do is give her that moment of, contrition, and that moment of regret, and the solution to get by it. Alrighty, so Jane, my love, my friend, if this helps, terrific. If it's like, no, you're completely on the wrong track, LuAnn, blah, 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 then you hit me back, Jane. Okay. LuAnnNigara.com/WWLD. All right. I hope that was helpful. Little thought process there for you if you find yourself in a similar situation. And of course, if you have a question that you love me to answer on air, just send them in. In the meantime, one thing I want to remind you is another thank you to a sponsor, Kirsch.com. If you are working on a custom window treatment project, or even a ready-made window treatment project, maybe in this midst of shelter in place, you are doing virtual consultations, and maybe you've got to send people links to ready-made drapes or something like that, but you can still order custom-made drapery rods so that they are sturdy and beautiful and stylish and work into the entire project, okay? So go find your local dealer at KIRSCH.com. All right. Thank you tons for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day. Decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.